Okay. Okay, for today's session, we're going to be reproducing these objects. And okay, for that, well, first of all, like I said the last time, if you want to recreate any drawn object that has dimensions and things to guide you to do them, you should decide where you want to start. That's what you should do first. Decide, okay, where do I want to start? There must be a start point. And for things like this, I don't know if it's because of me, but I think I would prefer starting with the circle, the very smallest circle here. Of course, it's not the smallest circle because we want to technically talk about the smallest circle. We're talking about this radius here, that is a semicircle. But for this, we're talking about this full circle, yeah? The smallest full circle in this case. So we're going to start with the smallest full circle and analyze the drawing. Okay, yes, this circle is of diameter 5, and we have another circle of diameter 10. Okay, it continued, and we have another circle because this one is talking about radius. So if this is, because if you look here, it's kind of curved, and it's like all these things are connected, and they are one circle that is being trimmed off by these edges. So we are going to draw another circle of radius 8, like so. And if you go further, you see another circle here that connects all these together. And we have them of radius what? 20. So after that, we have this one, diameter 44. We have diameter 48. And then off from this center, we have another circle here. And this circle is of radius 18. And we have, after that, we have the next one of radius 20 from the same center, away from this other center. Do you understand what I just explained? Please, if you understand this, use the chat box and type understand or understood. Any of them will go. If you understood what I just said, I would like you to use the chat box, say understood while I begin. Wow, nobody understands. Am I muted? No, I'm good, right? Hello? Can you hear me? Do you understand? Okay, yes, we continue. So for this, I'm going to switch over to Autocad, and I'm going to use this. Should I use this now? I'm going to close this. No, I'm not going to close it because I'm obviously doing something with that letter from. Okay, I created it before, so just going to leave this. I decide to create it again. Okay. So now let's go. Meanwhile, I will take this somewhere else so I can be creating it. Okay, to be like so. Now let's get started. First of all, I'll need to create this inner circle, and that inner circle is of diameter 5. So the dimensions are not here, but we have it. We've seen the picture, so I'm going to just go straight to the point. Inner circle. I think inner circle is the name of the movie. Yeah, inner circle. So for that, I want to use diameter. So it's either I come down to click here, or I just type D, enter, then type 5 for the diameter of the inner circle. So we have the inner circle. I repeat circle command. I need another circle of diameter 10. This circle, right? Sorry. This circle right here is of diameter 10. So I need that circle. So for me to do that, I will need to turn on a snap option for center. This one right here. And to do that also, I can just shift right click and choose the center option, and then select the center. So I type D for diameter and then 10 for diameter 10 circle. Then the next one, which is this one that connects here, and this one. So to get the circle, this particular circle, to get that circle, the circle is of that radius 8. So I'll create a center radius circle of radius 8. Enter. Then the next one, which is this one, right? And if you notice, it connects all of these together. And that one is of radius 20. So I'm going to make another circle of radius 20. Okay, 20 in this case, enter. So we have this. Now we're going to continue to this outer circle and this one. This first one right here is of diameter 44. Yes, it's of diameter 44, and that's what I'm going to do first. So I'll create a circle from the center also, 44. So I'll type D for diameter, then 44. So I have that one. And the next one is of diameter 48, which is this outer circle, the very last circle. So I'll go D, 48. Okay, so I have diameter 48 circle. Now we have some other things to construct. We need to construct these items, right? Like so. So if you notice, they have one circle here and they have another circle here. So for that, I'll need to bring up the drawing so I can explain something to you. So you can see with me. So if you noticed, from this center point, they made a straight line upwards, showing you that, okay, this is the center of this circle. And they made a dimension from this place to this point here, showing you the center at which they drew this circle from. So now you have to offset from this center. After drawing a straight line, you have to offset to the left by 12.66. 12.66. After you do that, you draw an horizontal line also, like so, and then you offset upwards by 8.05 to get this intersection point from which you can draw these circles 1 and 2, from which you can draw circles 1 and 2. So the intersection point is gotten from an offset from this part and then from this part. Do you understand this? If you understand this, please use the chat box as I explained for that using AutoCAD. Okay, okay. So now that's what I'm going to do. I am going to draw a straight line, both vertical and horizontally. So it will be just like this. 1. Then the second one should go this way. 2. Now the offset. Remember the first offset. Oh, John Paul, you don't understand. Just watch and you, I think if you watch, you understand. Just please watch. Okay, so let me bring back this drawing. Now, John Paul, if you can see this, you will notice that there's an offset from this point here. See a straight line. They drew a straight line from the center, and they made an offset from here to this point by 12.66. And an horizontal line, they offsetted it upwards by 8.05 to get the intersection point from which you can draw this circle and this circle. Do you understand that, John Paul? Okay, so we can continue. So now I have the lines drawn, both vertically and horizontally. So now what I need to do is to offset these lines. By that, I'll use the offset tool. And I will input my offset distance. The first offset distance is 12.66. Enter. I'll select this line and offset it this way, like so. Then the next one, I don't need to impute any offset distance. I will show you a trick. Once you have your dynamic input system turned on, there's a box that shows you the distance of your offset. See the box there, it already has 12.66. But now I don't want 12.66. I want 8.05. So I'm just going to type 8.05 into that box and enter it. So it will make an offset of that unit. So you see, this is my intersection point from which I can draw those circles. So now for me to draw the circles, I just click on, okay, let me bring this back for you to see it. Now you see, this point right here is the point I just got. So this intersection point will serve as the center of these circles, circle 1 and circle 2. Do you understand? If you understand, please use the chat box. Okay, so we can continue. So now I am just going to do this. Just click on center, radius, and the intersection point, of course, you see it shows intersection. I click on it, and I'll make my first circle. The first circle there is of radius 18. So I'm just going to type 18, enter. Then there's a second circle of radius 20. Of course, I'm just going to make enter to repeat the last command. And then radius 20, enter. So you see, I have that object as shown here and as shown here. You see, it's like this right here. So now I'm going to do some housekeeping to make sure it looks exactly like this. So now I'm just going to do some trimming and then some filleting, and then we'll have our shape like we want it. Okay, now for me to trim, I just click on this, the trim tool, and make enter. Now I continue trimming. First of all, I trim from the parts where I know I will not need. I won't be needing some of these parts, like this one right here. I won't be needing this part. I won't be needing this part. I won't be needing this part. And I won't be needing this part. So I'm just going to do this. Okay, so we have that, like so. Trim off this one. So now I'll come over to this place. I'll trim off this part right here, and I'll trim off this part like so. Trim off this part like so, and like so. So we have all that out of the way. Enter. And then the rest of them, I'm just going to erase them like this. And it works for me. I'm just going to erase all these elements because I don't need them. Okay. And I'm also going to erase these ones because I don't need them. This is only what I need here. I just need this one, and I need this other geometry also. Now, next thing I'm going to do is that I'm just going to make a fillet right here. So if you notice from the drawing, you notice we have a fillet here that is round, and that fillet is of radius 0.6. The radius there is 0.6. That is, the diameter will be 1.2. And we have 16 of them. That means it's both sides here and here, because we have 8 arrayed objects. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So 8 times 2, which means that it will be having it on both sides. If you understand, please use the chat box, type understood. So I'm just going to make that fillet. Okay. So the fillet will be like so. I'll just come here, click on fillet. and radius, I'll make it 0.6, enter. Because I'm going to trim multiple, I'm just going to select on the multiple option. So it will allow me to trim multiple objects. And there we go. Select the first line, select the second line to make that fillet. Now select this third line and the fourth line to make this fillet also. So we have our nice objects looking like so. And now I'll need to join these objects. I'll join them together. How do I do that? I just highlight it like so, using the blue selection window. Of course, you know what this does. And then I select J, enter. So we now have it like a polyline. It's now a single object. So now we need to array this around the circle, just like we have here, just like we have it arrayed. And we have 8 objects. There are several ways to do that. I'm just going to use a simple one by using the array from this area. I'm just going to highlight the object and now use the array command, polar array in this case, polar array. And I'll specify the center point, which is the center of the circle. And we have it arrayed like so, but I don't want just 6 objects. I need it to be, the number of items, I need it to be 8. So I type 8 and press enter. So we have 8 objects like so, or 8 items as you may have seen it. Okay? And then once I'm okay with the array, I just click on close array. So that is it for the object. If you understand what just happened, please type understood. Use the chat box. Okay. So you see how simple it is to make objects like this. First of all, you need to decide, okay, where do I want to start my drawing from? And once you've decided that, then you can decide, okay, where do I go next from there? That's how easy it is to make drawings. Okay, now I'll need to do some dimensioning. I'll just, first of all, I need a center line. I'll go to the Annotate tab and select center line. And mind you, I have not done some things, some basic things that need to be done. And I'll do that before starting my dimensioning. I'll go home, create layers for my objects, and then dimensions, because that's what we have here. Object, center line, and dimension. This one should be dim for dimension. And the dim should have a kind of color like so. My dimension, like it's always look like so. It's not distracting people from the frame object. And of course, it should be continuous. And then the line width should be 0.25. Okay, and after that, for the 0.25, some other thing. Okay, we'll do with that for now. The next one is objects. And this one can remain white. Or no, no, I won't keep it white. Let's make it a little bit of this, like this. And this one will be 0.5. Wow, 0.5 will be too much. 20.4. Okay. So I need another one from layer 0 this time. I need center. The center line width will be 0.25. Line width will be 0.25. Meanwhile, transparency, of course. There should be a little bit of transparency here, 50%. And line type should be phantom. I want to load a new line type, phantom. Okay, let's say phantom. Phantom 2, yeah. Okay, so I'm selecting phantom 2. Okay. So we have it like so. And the color, no, not white. The color should be a little bit darker. And the dimension. Okay, so I can have it like so, and then I close this. Now, remember dim layer to set my dimension layer. Dim layer. So I enter dim layer and I type dim. DIM. Okay, so am I right? Yes, I'm right. Now I have that for dim layer. And then I'll just highlight all these objects and put them into the object layer. So we have that. And now go to Annotate, Dimension Style, set some things. So I need one of them should be standard. I'll make one of them standard and one of them annotative. So this one will be standard. Let me see what's there. Standard dimensioning. So I need to modify this. So what's a fit? Okay, we're good. So okay. And I set current. And I close. This time I'll just do some dimensioning here. We'll put the center line first of all. The center line, we need to go into the center line folder. I'll select this and make a new center line this time to mimic the biggest circle. Let's take this one. Okay, yeah. So we have it like so. And I'm going to move it to another folder. Sorry, another layer. And center line layer. To be like so. So the next one would be the offsets. Yes. Okay. Now let's do the dimension proper. So I'll pick this. The first one is of diameter 5, which is this one right here. Diameter 5. And the next one is of diameter 10. like so. And then we have one of radius 8. Just keep it like so. Over here, we have another one of radius 20. Keep it like so. Another one of diameter 44. Keep it like so. This diameter also. Diameter 48, respectively. So we have that. Now, let me see if I have any other dimensions I'm not putting. Okay, the only dimension I'm leaving out here are the linear dimension and the dimension for this fillet. So I'm just going to add the dimensions to this fillet. Where are that? Okay. Let's be like this. Now, see what happens. When I try to change the scale factor, 1:4. You see, nothing happened, but I changed the scale factor to 1:4. And this is because these dimensions were drawn or were inserted not using the annotative option. So even if I increase the scale, they remain the same, as you can see like so. They are not annotative. And if I hover around them, you will notice you will not see any of this sign. This is the symbol for annotation, for annotative dimensioning. Yes. So if I hover around them, you will not notice any of those. Can you hear me? Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay. Okay. So now let's go over to the next drawing. For the next drawing, I'm going to use same style, but now I will add the annotative option. By the way, this is not visible. So let's before we go over to the next drawing, let me make this a little bit visible. So I will still go to the dim style. And after that, I come to modify. I want to modify that standard dimension. Something is happening. So now I'm just going to increase this a little bit, just make it 0.5. I hope it's not too big. Come to the test and increase this by 0.5, the text height 0.5. And then I say, okay, set correct and close. I hope it does not become too big. Okay, so it's a little bit more visible. As you can see, some objects are now looking somehow. So I'm just going to delete some and redo them, create them. So I'm just going to create them. Like I said earlier, a good dimension allows you to see other parts of your drawing. So you would want to practice proper dimensioning. I'll just select this and drop it here. And for the radius, you can select this one and drop it here. You did not select actually. And just drop it here. Okay. So proper dimension allows you to see other parts of your drawing. So that is it. for this. So now, okay, it's not annotated, so it doesn't matter. Now for this other drawing, are you with me? If you're with me, please use the chat box, type yes. For this other drawing, we're just going to do something else. And that something else is that we're going to make it annotative. Go to the Annotate tab. And this time, we'll just use this option, the Annotate option. Yes, that is it. That's the dimension we're going to be using now. And to do that, so we have the Annotate on. Now we'll go to our Dimension Style Manager, check some things. Of course, you see the annotative dimension is already on. Now let's go to Modify and make sure some things are in place. Okay, so you see the text height is 2.5, the arrow size is 2.5, and for the fit, you see that this annotative option is turned on. This will make sure that your viewport, when you're viewing it in your layout view, is according to the scale factor you chose with your viewport. So that is it. I'm just going to click OK, set current, and close. So now let's go to dimensioning. I'm just going to dimension some things like select this one, dimension it this way, because it's too big. Yes, and the next one is 10. Dimension it this way. Also too big. The next one is radius 8. It's too big also. Just follow me, please. And the next one is this one. And I'm going to make it this way. Okay. I'm going to make this so that like so. And make this so that like so. Okay, now let's see something. We have this, and of course, if you see they are just too big, you may want to go over to the dimension style to change this for the annotative dimension. Come to Modify, change them. I don't know why this thing keeps giving me this. And I come to text, make this 1. Arrows and symbols, make this 1. Okay. Set current and close. Regen. Okay, so we have that. Now you see we have a very, 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 very dirty job. But the idea here is to show you what this does. And if I change the scale factor, someone said he did not understand what I did. Who is that person? John Paul, okay, yeah. John Paul, hope you're hearing me. If I change this to 1:2, you see, the dimension will increase and all that. If I change it also to 2:1, you see it reduces according to the scale. John Paul, are you with me? Fafure John, are you with me? Everyone, are you with me? Can you see this? Do you understand? Okay, okay. So I haven't understood this. I think I've done justice to the annotation and annotative and non-annotative dimensioning. And that will be the end of today's class. We've done our particle drawing 2, and I've explained this annotative and non-annotative dimension pattern. So thank you for attending today's class. I hope you gain value. If you gain value from today's class, please use the chat box and type value. Depends on what you want to use, actually. Yes, depends on what you want to use. So you know what you want to use and which will actually fit best to what you want to achieve. Okay, thank you very much. That will be the end of today's class. Hope to see you in our next session. Please do well to do your practice assignments and submit before Wednesday. Thank you very much. Bye for now. Hosts, we've come to the end of today's session, please.